And welcome everybody to the debut episode of the Season 9 RBN Podcast with your hosts, myself, aschlemmer, and my co-host, Season 8 World Series coach, AJ128VG. How's it going today, AJ?
How you doing?
It's going good. So we'd like to welcome everybody to today's stream and the first podcast of the season. So, just to start everything off, we had a great first series of play. Two of the three series split. One series was a sweep. What are your reactions for these results, AJ?
I think it's very early in the season, and a lot of people are still getting used to playing again.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So, what did you think about NAS sweeping UPS? Do you think that was likely, or was that somewhat of a surprise to you?
A bit of a surprise. I don't think UPS was really ready.
Yeah, NAS seems to be a team that's always ready to get up and go when the season starts. But it really seems to be a test of time for NAS whether they can stay in relevance or not. But moving on to Aces and Mountaineers. Do you think that series should have been split? I do not think it.
I'm not a big fan of the sub rule, so
yeah, I'm personally not a fan of the sub rule. Many people in the modern RBC have been calling for the abolition of the sub rule. Since it's only caused owners and coaches and players with immense amounts of stress and sadness because they lose to teams that they shouldn't lose to.
I know almost every team has fallen victim to it at one point.
Definitely. But the most competitive series that we've seen was definitely our series, Rock Valley versus Mount Adams. And low-scoring games in that series. What did you think about that?
I think that it was probably the best series out of all of them, out of the other, out of the three. Of players that played in the World Series last year that were on opposing sides.
Yeah.
Again. So
yeah, it was a
it was a hot series.
It was a very good series. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the first series that we've had this year?
It's been a lot of inconsistency still with play.
Yeah.
Including myself.
So. Yeah, me as well. Do you think the officiating this season has gotten a little better?
I think it has. There hasn't been a lot of bad calls that I've seen, at least.
Okay. All right, well, we'd like to call out our guest, ArcadianDelta, out onto the stage now. So, welcome, Arcadian. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
I am good. So, you are, as everybody knows, on the Spartans, right? So, what do you think about NASA's roster this season? You think they have some good prospects going into the year?
I think we got good prospects and everything. I just think that right now what our main focus on is probably getting the discipline under control. Right now it's a little hectic, and right now I think the goal is to try to get everyone to kind of simmer down and control their emotions. But once we get that part under control, I'm pretty sure we got a good team this season.
Sounds good. Who do you think is going to be a real breakout player this season? Like somebody who wasn't really good last season but is kind of going to show up this year for NAS?
Well, yeah, I didn't play much of last season, but I mean, from what I've seen so far this past two games, I would say Weehawk. Weehawk has come in some pretty clutch situations these past two games. So I think that Weehawk has been doing pretty good, and from what I believe that person is under the radar right now. So I believe that they could have a breakout season this year.
Sounds good. Is there anything? What would you like to add about NAS this season?
There's nothing much to add about it. I just, from what it seems like, because to the best of my knowledge, I don't think there's been that many members on the roster that have been on the roster in previous seasons. So it's a new group, and it's gonna be a new experience for Doug and myself and Juiceables and everyone. So, it's gonna be a ride, and hopefully we can do the best that we can.
Yeah. So your schedule going up to the All-Star break is the Cougars, followed by the Aces, followed by the Knights. What do you how are you going to approach these series as a team?
Well, definitely for sure, our next series against the Cougars, that definitely won't be an easy challenge. I don't think any of these teams will be an easy challenge. I mean, even in this first series, I don't think the score really tells the whole story. Against UPS, it was a really competitive game. I even threw a homer and everything, but it really came down to just that team kind of just gave up on themselves, and that's why the score ended the way it did. So I don't think any team that we face is going to be an easy W. I think every team has its own competitive edge, especially RVC and MAK. So those teams for sure. And then I'm pretty sure that the Aces as well. I don't know that much about the Aces simply because this last game that I watched them, it was mainly by subs. So I can't really judge that team right now. But for sure, these next couple of series, it'll be a tough schedule.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add for the podcast, Ark?
Nope, nothing else to add. I just want to thank you for letting me be on your podcast.
Of course. Well, if that'll be all, we'll see you later, Ark. Thank you for coming on. Bye-bye. All right. So, looking into the future, AJ. So, how do you think this season's going to go? What are your very early beta predictions for the finals of these divisions?
Yes, we'll probably start winning games a lot more. I know they haven't really had the best play so far, but at the same time, I think they have one of the best pitching staffs in the league, behind maybe RVC. So
Who was that?
the Suns.
Okay, the Suns. Yeah. I would have to agree with that. The Suns really had a rocky start, but that's just due to the fact that their core is really young and really almost none of them have really played together in the past. It's a lot of faces that have been around the league but never together in this environment. But I think Coach Crazy and owner Garrett can get the team under control later in the season, and I think they can make a good run.
Agree.
What do you think about the other two teams in the ML? Since you're an RL guy, you can do ML and I'll do RL.
Well, of course, I think the Cougars are probably they're right now, at least for me, because we played the Cougars already. I think that they're the best team in the ML. I think NAS is a really good team too. Even without Doug, they still won 2 games.
Yeah.
And they look to have some pretty pitching. So.
All right. So my take on the RL: the Aces are a very mixed bag. They could either finish first or they could finish last, but I don't really see them finishing anywhere in between. The reason Smogan, as an owner in the past with his RBC teams, he just kind of lets them go until like the second to last series. If that happens again, I could see the Aces just being swept under the rug for the whole season and end up not making the playoffs. The Mountaineers of this season are very similar to the Mountaineers of last season, both in administration, roster build-up. Just overall, they're quite similar. While they've acquired stars like Ryan Priest, who batted .600 for the Cougars last year, and other new players like Draft Champ, I still think that they're probably going to end up middle of the pack like they were last year. As for the Mount Adams Knights, they've got a very talented both pitching and hitting core who gave myself and the Cougars a really big struggle. So I think they're almost certainly going to finish top of the RL this season. But yeah. Is there any other future things?
I agree with Ark. I kind of look forward to watching on the ML side Weehawk. He looking at his stats, and he's 2 for 2 in one game, so that's pretty good. He has 1 home run already and 3 RBIs.
Yeah.
And he just overall looks to be batting better than he did last season.
Certainly.
On the ML side, I think the RL side, one person to pay attention to would be, I don't like hyping up my own players on team. I think Squeak, he had a great pitching performance against the Cougars in game 1.
Yeah, a surprisingly good pitching performance. Squeaker is putting his name into the pitching column this season as a dominant player. But yeah, go on. Well, now for everyone's favorite time of the episode, fan suggestions. And before I get spammed, we are not doing early awards. It is the end of Series 1. So, go ahead and post your comments in the YouTube live chat, and we will answer them as we see them. Do power rankings of all the teams and explain why. I mean, we kind of just did that for the individual divisions. How good is West Virginia 1 to 10, says Xavier. I don't know.
Say
7? Yeah. Do I see a season 10? If the toxicity stays at where it is now, no. But there's a chance. I don't know. Bro, why we trying to gas? Who? How good is Mac 1 to 10? 8.
I'll let you do that.
I'd say 8. I don't really like doing these 1 to 10 ratings because they don't really take everything into account. Who do you think will take the Metro League, RVC, or NAS? Whoever wins this next series will probably take it. Or actually, no, that's not true. Doug won't be there. I don't know. We'll see. Who will win World Series? We just finished Series 1. We don't know. But power rankings, I don't know. At this point, it could be anybody. Looking for one final question.
X broken is good.
Do you think Mac will coast to number 1 seed, or will a battle be fought? Does Mac play West Virginia next series?
Oh, we play the Aces.
Oh. Season
Is
3,
Candy-
yeah, Series 3 is Mac and West Virginia. That'll be the series to watch, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah, that'll be the most interesting series of Series 3. But do I think UBS will come back? Probably. But yeah, I think that'll be it from us tonight, guys.
This is a good question.
What was a good question?
Candy Crush Saga a good game?
What? Oh, is Candy Crush Saga a good game? If you are over the age of 40 and you are a female. But yeah, that'll be all from us today. It's a goodbye and a happy new year from myself and AJ and everyone else here at the RBN. And I'm excited to get back to podcasts. I know this episode was very short, but perhaps there will be longer going into the future. But, actually, that's a really good question. One sec. Alex asks, do you think Juice is an MVP caliber player if toxicity issues continue? A very interesting question. Honestly, he's just going to... I don't know. If he keeps getting ejected, he's going to get himself off the field, both in the games he's getting ejected from and from the suspension result that will come from his next ejection. And knowing Juice and knowing the people on the board, I doubt his suspension will be... I doubt it'll be light. But, yeah, that'll be all for us tonight. Happy New Year from the RBN. And goodbye, everybody. Have a happy New Year. Go spend it with family. Goodbye.